What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Neon Vale. I'm your host, Cousin Ryan, and today we got my buddy back for another co-host type session. We're going to talk about what we did this past, I think by the time this comes out, it'll be 2 weekends ago, what he did, what I did. We got some cool shit for you today, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in my really good friend, Mr. Dwayne Workman. What's up, buddy?
What is up, my friend? How's it going?
It's good, man. It's good. We haven't hung out in a few weeks, which we'll rectify that here soon, I think.
All right, I'm heartbroken.
I will say though, Skip wants to go golfing with you because he got another buddy that wants to golf that lives here, and so he'll probably be reaching out to you to go golfing soon because
do it.
You know me, I don't do that shit. So I might tag along. He's trying to talk me to tag along. We'll see. But
a little tag team.
It'd be fun, man. He's better than me, and we'll see. I'll probably have to be on your team. You'll carry us. It's fine. All right. So thanks for coming on, dude. I wanted to talk to you because 2 weekends ago now, it's going to be, you went to go see the Red Hot Chili Peppers in concert at Allegiant.
Sure did.
And I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about what you did Friday because I'm a huge fan of your dad and the music he makes and what he does for his community. So let's go on and tell everybody real quick what was going on last weekend. What happened that Friday night?
So that was Sunday afternoon.
All right.
So they were in his community in North Vegas. It's a really good neighborhood. Every now and then they'll get together, bring out some food trucks, bring the community together. And then my dad, he likes to play guitar and sing. So he did this a couple of months ago, initially for the first time. Everyone loved it. So now he's become a recurring appearance for him. And they brought him back out again. And this time it was for a craft fair overall. So they had probably 30 different vendors out there, different tents set up, all kinds of different crafts, homemade things. I got my dog some homemade dog treats and stuff like that. My mom got some jewelry from somebody. They had wreaths being made. They had like a Cactus Jack food truck. So they had a little bit of everything set up. And he was just set up in the center, which you can probably see from the video that we'll post at some point. Where he set up in the center with another guy playing piano and just performing. And
so we'll go ahead and put that video up here right now.
Between a rock and a hard place.
We'll let that play through. But I also want to throw out, your dad, doesn't he have a YouTube channel out there as well? Or I've seen videos posted of him. Doesn't he have some kind of social media out there?
He does, actually. I want to say it's probably just Rob Workman Music.
I think I believe so.
So he's pretty easy to find. He's got a couple songs on Google Play, Spotify, like that. So you can go follow him and download him and everything like that and start listening to him. But he's always open to performing any chance he gets.
I really want to have him on here. I know I need to talk to him and to bring him on and kind of chat because your dad does some great music. He's really fun to talk to. We've gone to a few concerts and hung out with him, and
we saw Slaughter together, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he can hang, he can hang.
Oh yeah. They're on Fremont tonight. That's where they're at right now. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Your parents are the greatest. So we'll go ahead and put your dad's information in the comments or into the, description box below. And if I find anything else later, I'll tag it in the comments, but go check him out, everybody. Rob's really cool. Great music, great to watch. And you'll see on the pictures and the videos that we've had playing so far. So it's a good time. Good time.
I think he's cool. Yeah.
I enjoy hanging out with him when we get the chance. So, all right. So I want to talk about the next thing, and that is the Red Hot Chili Peppers at Allegiant. I'm a huge fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Not so much of them new or live. I was kind of an older fan because the lineup changes constantly, so you never know who you're getting. But first of all, how are they? How did they perform?
So performance-wise, they did good. I mean, they had the energy. They had the backgrounds for everything going off the entire time. The issue isn't so much them. It's really Allegiant, in all honesty. Multiple concerts I've been to there, it's just the sound isn't great for Allegiant. The way it's built is it's built for a sports complex, not so much for concert venues.
Mm.
And I've heard this from multiple people, unfortunately, but not to discourage anybody from seeing the Red Hot Chili Peppers, as they still put on a good show overall. It's hard to hear anything at Allegiant. So whether it be a sporting event or a concert, the audio doesn't carry properly in that building.
So are they down in one side on the end zone, or how was that
Yes.
stage set up?
That's how it was set up. So they were down on one end zone completely, and people were sitting in the clubs all the way to the top, and then they were blocked off from going behind them. So everyone was kind of facing this way. So where we were sitting, we were directly in front of them, even all the way into a corner seat in the lower bowl. So it wasn't a bad seat. It's just the sound doesn't carry properly. So after so long, I ended up just leaving the seat completely because I had some guys standing up, dancing next to me, and kept like bumping into me as I was sitting down, sitting on me every now and then. It was just no good.
Really? Like what section were you in? Do you know off the top of your head?
109. So
okay. Were you on the same side as the torch or the opposite side?
we were under the torch.
Under the torch. Okay.
So that's where I ended up going to afterwards. So I left my seat and going up there. Yeah, it's much more fun to hang out there than it is to hang out in your seat, kind of cramped if you're not going to stand up and dance anyway.
Right.
And it's just more social up there. So I ended up going up there, meeting some people I already knew that were in the venue, and we just got some more drinks at the bar and watched a couple more songs. And I left early to beat some of the crowd because the downfall is Ubering to Allegiant is good for driving purposes, but the surcharge kicks in the later it gets to the event ending, so you kind of have to time it, and then you're stuck in traffic either way. So it was like,
wasn't it? I can't remember if it was you or not. But that time we went to Allegiant where we picked it up, and because there's only certain ways for the Uber to leave, they can't go the other direction. And I don't remember if it was with you or someone else, but I remember getting into the Uber and she started going the wrong direction until the cops like flipped out and yelled at her, and made her turn around.
That was me. Yep,
that was with you.
And she was full ready to go, just keep going. She's like, until the cops tell me to turn around, I'm going this way. And then sure enough, they were flashing the light in her face and everything, telling her to turn around. And it's annoying because I live that direction.
Yeah, the way she was going was the quicker way out for those of us who know the area. So
they make you go the long way around past Mandalay Bay, and I live at the other side of the strip, so it's a mild inconvenience.
It was more than mild because we were almost out of there. We had to turn back all the way around, get stuck in traffic that was behind us. That we
were like 5 minutes away from being just freedom.
It was irritating, but
then the surcharge kicks in, so it's all of $10 for me to get there, $50 to leave.
Right. And the pickup spot too is a madhouse because especially when it's at night, it's all blocked off by cones.
Definitely.
Tourists and everyone are out there trying to find their way out. They're all crazy.
Know what to do. They're always just looking at their phone, trying to figure out where their Uber driver is, and it tells you which lane they're sitting in.
Mm-hmm. But reception after a game is sketchy at best too because there's all those people out there. So it's like sometimes, for me at least, when I was out there trying to do it, it was a delay in trying to get in touch with my Uber driver. So
definitely. That's why I like to usually leave a little early, and then the best thing to do is call your Uber as you're on the escalators leaving the stadium, because then it's typically there by the time you get to the parking lot, and you just walk right up to your car.
It's pretty makes it easy. Yeah. So the concert was I know it was Saturday night, right? It was a later concert.
Yep, that was Saturday night. Yeah, they started at 6:30. I have no idea who the openers were. And
that was my next question.
Yeah, they weren't entertaining. They were. I mean, unfortunately, our whole group and people behind us, even the entire time, I'm about to get canceled for this, but we're trying to figure out if it was a female or a male. Unfortunately, we were just trying to figure it out.
Do you remember the name of the band at all? We'll have to look it up later. It's fine. Because I didn't know who their openers were either. So
and they weren't any good either. But it's unfortunate. It's just I don't know if it's the audio wasn't making them good, but the song choices didn't sound any good to me. Now there could have been huge fans of theirs there, but no one around my whole section seemed to enjoy them.
Well, the few times that I've gone to the Raider games and watched like the opening performance or halftime performance, what have you, the sound system really isn't the best for that. So I would imagine that's part of the problem, I would guess. So
it's even hard to hear. I went to with the Pac-12 championship a couple years ago, and even that you couldn't. We were yelling, trying to talk to each other, sitting next to each other. just because of how loud the volume was carrying. And the higher up you go, the worse it is because the vibration starts bouncing off the walls and everything like that.
Right.
You can't hear anything.
No. So when you walked up to the top to go be by the torch, was the show on TVs around the stadium, or was it just the one big monitor that was out there? Because I know there was a big monitor out there.
It was just the one monitor where they were performing, so you were still looking at them. There was no other screen
really
broadcasting them live. But the screens that are there, that you can see pretty well, because they're huge screens off of the side of the stage, so you could easily see them on stage. And then one of my videos, I'm sure I'm zooming up close to them just to show off my camera.
And I guess I'll put it in there if you provided it, but I know there was a video picture that I saw you sent me, and it was the dude standing up in front of you, so you really couldn't see part of the show. Is that before or after you left your seat? That
was shortly before I left my seat.
Okay.
I was sitting down, and they were all standing up around me, and I'm 6'4". I don't like to stand up and get in the way of people behind me. So no one's going to see if I stand up. So it's my courtesy. I'll figure out my way between your shoulder blades, and I'll still see.
That's hilarious. Okay. The other thing that I heard about the show, because again I didn't go, but was that they didn't play Under the Bridge, which I guess was kind of a big deal from people that went. Do you know what I'm talking about? The song I'm talking about?
I don't think I know that one. No.
Okay, it's one of my favorite songs, and I heard it wasn't played, so that's really disappointing. They didn't play that because that's huge for them.
I got to a point where, especially when I was walking around, I missed a few songs. I'm pretty sure, and just was drinking, so I can't really account for all the songs they were playing. Were all the spots open to grab beers around the concession stands, or pretty much? Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's one thing Allegiant does pretty well. They move the lines pretty efficiently, from my experience at least. I mean, yeah, you're going to be in line every now and then, or if you're right at the beginning of the event, yeah, you're going to be stuck in line. But as the event starts and moves on, typically the lines are short. They move quickly, especially by the torch. We walked straight up to the cashier. So
right. Well, except where friends of mine who my story that I did last week, they were here and went to the Mob Museum with, which we'll talk about. They have season tickets to the Raiders, and their seats are right underneath the torch. And so that area is probably my favorite because there's never a line for the beer or the alcohol. It's fairly quick. It's pretty cool. I like sitting up there when they let us.
I need to go to a Raiders game. I still haven't been.
All right. I'll talk to them about it. So,
wink, wink.
Wink, wink. Morning, Leslie, if you're watching. So that's all. Because the few times that we've gone to that stadium, we went for a soccer game. It was Mexico and someone else, I believe, that was playing.
Juventus and
that's
Chivas.
right. That's right. Juventus and Chivas. That was a really fun time. Really great seats to go do that. Again,
that was in the club section. That was really good.
Going with your dad, who was hilarious to watch that game with. So always a good time. I love that stadium. It's especially during the summer. For those of you who haven't been, it's very well air conditioned in there. It's fantastic. So when it's hot and balls out, it feels really good.
It gets cold, honestly, inside.
Kind of like T-Mobile Arena during a hockey game.
Definitely.
Which Go Knights made playoffs. You and I have to go try to go do that this year. We'll have to go and share that story with everybody as well, because that's going to be a hell of a time.
Just do like we always do. Wait till puck drop.
Yep. And I'm hoping this year that they do like they did in the past with COVID, the COVID things being rolled back. If we can have the parties outside like they did the first time they made the Stanley Cup playoffs,
right? We're showing the game at that on the concert screen.
And
if you don't go inside, you can still mingle and have a great time.
And they had all the food trucks out there, the beer trucks.
That was cool.
If they make it to the finals like they did that first year, they blocked that whole thing off for the TV crews. And so you're out there on, with the big camera cranes out there over you, watching it and watching you while you're watching the game. It's a hell of a good time, and it's a freaking party. And a lot of good beer spots out there, Beer House, Winners and Losers, which we'll have to go and check out again, and we'll do a show on that one as well.
That's where California Pizza Kitchen used to be, right?
Yes, I believe so.
I was just there the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was cool. They had live music performing. I mean, I missed it as CPK, obviously, because I was like, you like to come here all the time for the Knights game. Yeah.
But we'll have to go back, roll through there. That'd be fun. So All right, so I want to move on to the next one. The next thing, because this one's going to take me a bit to talk through, because there was a lot we did Tuesday night when good family friends of mine, Warren and Leslie, were here. I'm hoping to have them on the show as well because I've partied with them in Vegas numerous times. They're actually coming back in August for their son's 21st birthday, so we're going to make sure we go with that, and it'll be fun. We'll talk about some things, but not everything that we do, because, good times. Can't. 21 runs, man.
Nope.
Gotta be careful. So they came down to visit Vegas, obviously, and they hit me up. And so I went and hung out with them. And we went to the Mob Museum. Here's the picture of what the outside Mob Museum. Out there on Fremont, it's right behind the other side of the Downtown Grand. You know what I'm talking about? That hotel that's right there, the Grand. It's right next to Heifer. Yeah. Well, yeah, the Heifer Saloon, Hogs and Heifer Saloon's right there. Yeah. Pizza Rock's right there. It's a cool building. On the outside, you wouldn't expect what it is, even though it does say Mob Museum,
But it used to be the old courthouse from back in the day.
Right, back in the day. Right. So, and actually one of the floors has the old courtroom in there. Is kind of like a cool little spot to go hang out.
Did you watch that movie?
Parts of it.
Yeah, it's cool.
And I'll get to why. So we got there about 6 p.m. Got in, paid. They paid ahead of time. We got our wristbands on it and went to the third floor of the museum. And I took some pictures of the third floor. There were some cool things. We'll post a few of them here. The best part that I thought was the coolest that I saw while we were there, that third floor, was an old electric chair, which I thot was kind of cool.
If you can sit in, yeah.
Yeah. So I took a picture of that. No one took a picture of me sitting in it. I sat real quick, but I took a picture because, but it was cool. It was really fun to walk around, see the history of that, to read about that stuff. I'm a big fan of The Godfather and those type of those type of movies. The Vegas history.
It's one of my favorite time periods too, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Prohibition was crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
And we were built.
Yeah. Vegas grew from, we were a mobster town. And it's funny when you walk in, there's a cardboard cutout of Mayor Goodman, the husband. And, for those of you who don't know, he was our mayor back in the late 80s, 90s, something like that. And used to be a lawyer here in Las Vegas as well. I've met his wife, who I'm a huge fan of. She was super cool to meet a couple years ago. So, but it was really funny seeing that cardboard cutout for it being the Mob Museum. I had a good little chuckle on that,
Yeah,
look it up, everyone. Go Google Mr. Goodman. Super nice guy, but it was just kind of ironic in my opinion. So we checked out the third floor, but we didn't have a whole lot of time because at 6:30 we had a reservation for their tastings, and it was a moonshine tasting, and we had to be there on time. So we walked down there and got checked in at 6:30 for the moonshine, and here's the picture of the stills, and their whole process is right there. You're sitting at tables right next to the stills, and you can see through the glass doors of their process, and they have someone in there who talks to you about prohibition and why things are the way they are, and then they talk to you about how they make the moonshine there at the Mob Museum and their process. And it was really cool. And so what we did is when you sat down, they told you a story. They told you a story of these 3 different moonshines that they made. They kind of alluded to, the story built up to each one. The first one was a basic moonshine, which was fairly good. It burned like a normal moonshine, right. Obviously 100 proof. The second one was a cinnamon one, which was pretty cool. It smelled like you were about to do a fireball shot, but it didn't taste like a fireball shot. And the last one was like a jalapeno one, which had a nice little kick to it. So
I remember that one.
It was good. It was really, really good. I'll pop the pictures up of the 3. They were tiny little glasses, as you can see, little tasters, and it was a small room. I think there was maybe like 20 of us, something like that was fitting there, maybe a little bit more.
Right,
yeah, because there's like tables of 4, and there's only a few of them spread out.
Was the room behind the picture open?
Or you can see into.
Well, there's like a giant picture on the wall, and there's a room behind there.
Oh, then no, not that I saw.
It's like off to the so if you're walking in from here's the or the tanks, right? Mm-hmm. And then the bar is over across from it. That room is against the wall on the left.
No. Are you talking about walking into the underground, the bar, or the tasting? So
the tasting's upstairs, right?
So what you were talking about, the tasting, what you were saying, if you come through the speakeasy door that you have to know the password to, go check out the Underground Mom Museum. They change the password occasionally, so go look for it there. But when you walk in, to your left, there's that picture and a wood wall. And when it's open is the tasting room. Is what you're talking about, I believe, is what you're saying. Because it depends on where you come in at.
Maybe the tasting room is a new addition then. When I was there, it was just a room you could reserve.
Oh, no, yeah. For us, the tasting room, it was 20 people. You had to have your ticket, and if you missed it, you missed it. And it was a group of people. So
yeah, that must be new. I don't think I did that.
Okay, so we'll have to go check. You'll have to go check that out with me sometime. It was pretty cool. I thought it was fun. Great stuff. The last thing that they have you do there is they have another moonshine that they have for you on your way out. It's their dessert moonshine. And it's 42 proof, so it's not overly powerful like everything else there. But it's a vanilla moonshine that kind of tastes like butterscotch. And so we got little tasty bottles of this at the bar. We walked over to the Underground. It's really good. We walked across into the Underground, which is the actual bar, and it's a restaurant bar. And it was really cool. Like, it was dark lit in there. It had a bunch of still, the Prohibition era type stuff out there all around the walls, and really cool drinks. So for those of you who watch Yellowstone 1923, if you've ever seen that, when they go into one of the speakeasies, they order a giggle water. One of the girls orders a giggle water because they saw it being made. They have that there. And the person I was with, Leslie, she ordered one. She loved it. It was like a strawberry infused wine with Lillet. It looked pretty good. It looked refreshing. She loved it.
Sounds good. Yeah.
But for me, for these type of places, I love me a good old fashioned. A good old fashioned is the way to my heart. And we ordered one. And these 3 pictures that are popping up right now is kind of how it was delivered. It was a highball glass full of ice with the maraschino cherry on top of a book, what looked like a book. And the best part was when you open that thing up, inside was the vial of alcohol. And
just like the old days.
Just like the old days, they hide you. And it was really cool because they kept the experience alive. The waitress came by, set it down, and she said, "Enjoy your reading," and walked away. She didn't say anything else, just, enjoy your book, and then left. So it's kind of cool. It kind of keeps, that idea of the Prohibition they're sliding to in secret. Open it up, pour it in, and it was a good old fashioned. In my opinion, the presentation was way better than the drink. But again, depends on what kind of bourbon you're using for your old fashioned. But it was good. It was really good, and the whole experience inside that bar was amazing. And
they have live music that comes in there too, and they'll do like old jazz type music. They'll bring in like flapper for dancers, so it's cool to go on the weekend and experience that too.
Yeah, Tuesday night it was. There's a good amount
going on.
No, there was no music. They had a TV going showing
like
old clips of Prohibition type stuff. We had what we could tell were regulars who were there. Because you listen to the conversations around you. It's not loud in there, so you can hear everybody talking, and it was cool. Everyone was really super friendly in there. All the wait staff, the bartender was cool, and the people sitting at the bar, because you could sit at the bar or at one of the tables, and there was a reserved couch section, which we need to check out sometime. Looks like you have a good sized party for it, but it was just
might be what I'm talking about.
I think so. Yeah, like right when you walk in. Yeah,
right next to the bar.
Yeah. So. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's exactly what you're talking about. So it was cool. I mean, it was a really great experience, but the coolest part too is being able to walk out with that moonshine. Because it was good. It was really good, man. It's good shit. This butterscotch one's amazing. I'm going to go back for more. I want to go back for the other ones too. Did you notice when you were there, and I don't know if it's a new thing, but did you notice that you can buy a prepaid card from the bar, and they have different bourbons and whiskeys that you can use your prepaid card to slide it, and it pours it into your glass for you. So you can try the different ones.
That's cool.
I should have got a picture of that. I didn't, but it was a cool idea. I want to go back and try that because I think they were like $4 per try, whatever the pour was. I'm gonna imagine it's gonna be a small pour, but
right.
But they were good stuff. They were good types of bourbons and whiskeys, things that I would love to go try. again. So we'll have to go
It
check it
sounds
out.
like they've updated it a lot down there since last time I was there.
Yeah, it looks like it got modernized quite a bit from stories I've heard in the past.
Yeah.
It was cool.
It was pretty basic before. I mean, it was just some tables and a bar.
Well, we'll have to go back. We'll do another one so you can tell me the difference.
Definitely
We'll
a
do
little
another show on
refresher.
a little fresher of it. It was a good time. I know I want to take some friends. They want to go because I want to go try some of the food. The food looked pretty bomb, and I'm a big foodie fan, so I want to go eat there and give it a shot. Afterwards, and I didn't know this at the time, but afterwards, going back upstairs, we wanted to go check out the rest of the exhibit and to go look at the gift shop.
Yeah.
So before we went to the gift shop, though, there's a spot where the courtroom is, and it's just giant room, bunch of benches with showing a movie, and it's a huge screen at the end of that. We didn't stay for the whole thing because they were shutting down the concession stand, so we wanted to get stuff before we left. So we hung out there, got stuff in the concession stand, and went to the store. And I'm normally not a huge fan of gift shop type stores, like, gift shops, whatever, cash grab. But there was some really cool drinking kits that were there. So the shakers, the measures, the pours, stuff like different cups, glasses. I know I walked out with the glass. I want to go back, so I want to get some new mixers and pours for that kind of thing. Maybe a cart. I thought I saw a cart there. Who knows?
That'd be cool.
To update, because that whole Prohibition area was freaking amazing. I love it.
I agree.
I loved it. It is a cool experience, man. I mean, you can walk through there, take your time, and watch and read so many things. And again, all the things from the third floor we saw, the pictures were posted earlier as we were talking about them. There's some more here. The things you got to see. It was a cool experience.
I mean, that courthouse, I don't know if you touched on it, but that's the actual courthouse they use to bring in the gangsters and mobsters and try them. So they were sitting in the same room, and that's the film you're watching. You're watching trials being replayed of them in the room getting arrested, more or less. So it's a cool experience to be in the same room, the exact same room where the judges were, all the mobsters were, and them saying, I don't recall.
So I recommend, if you're going to do the Mob Museum and you want to spend the time, do it earlier in the day.
There's a lot to see.
There's a lot to see. There's a lot to see, a lot to do, especially if you want to dive into that world, because there's a lot to read. There's a lot of the exhibits to go check out. The third floor had a video playing. The courtroom had a video playing. I think there was another movie somewhere else to sit down deeper inside the museum as well. We didn't have enough time, unfortunately, because things were starting to close. And things that I want to do, because I didn't know this beforehand, but there are other interaction exhibits inside the Mob Museum that you can pay for and upgrade. I didn't know that. So there's a CSI room, which I guess you get to go look at stuff that were.
I think someone I know of has done that, and
yeah. Okay.
That's from what I remember. It was a very meh experience.
Because they have that one, and then they have like a police one where you get to go like do an interactive police engagement, like where you're a police officer during the Prohibition. Apparently. They were closed, unfortunately, when we got there, so we didn't get to do them, and they didn't open until noon the next day. So it's an earlier in the day type situation, and it is an upsell. It's a little bit more. Locals do get a cheaper price to go do these things than tourists. So remember, take your favorite local and have them give you a discount. It was a cool experience. I really liked it. I really, really liked it, and we walked out with moonshine. Leslie walked out with some newspaper clipping type things because she's a teacher, and so for her it was perfect to go use for her classroom when they talk about that era. It was cool, man. It was a really cool time. I loved it.
I've done it a couple of times. It's been a couple of years now, so I definitely need to go back and see what's new, I guess. Sounds like.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and check it out, especially go to that speakeasy because it's right there. I know we haven't spent a whole lot of time on Fremont lately, but that is something that we do need to go do again.
Definitely. It's been a while. It's been a long minute.
And my favorite parking spot for those watching is if you're local and you're driving, my favorite spot is Neonopolis. I love it. It's
fun. Now I've transitioned to parking at the Circa, honestly.
Have you?
Just for convenience. But I do agree with you. If you're going to actually park in a garage and not pay out the wazoo, under Neonopolis is the best.
It was $9. $9 for the entire day. 24 hours. Yeah. So totally worth it. It was great. And it's a very unused parking lot. I've never gone in there because
It's somewhat hidden. It's hard to kind of find if you don't know where it's at, because since it goes underground initially and it's off the main road. So
yeah, it's on what is that, Fourth, I think.
4th Street, which is a one-way road also. So if you don't know which way you're going, you're not gonna.
But see, that's why I like it though, because Fourth's a one-way street, and when you leave, it goes right to the 50. It goes right to the 95 to the 15.
Extremely easy to get out of. And it's hardly ever busy. There's only been a few times where I've had to go to the next floor down.
Okay, and that's what I want to say. I didn't realize there was a next floor down until I went on Tuesday. Not because I had to go find a spot, because I just took a different route in when I came in. And yeah, there's another second underground parking.
I had to go in there one time in the many years I've parked down there. So you can typically find a spot on the main floor.
Yeah.
With a
And it's really because there's spots right next to the elevators. And it's really not that big. So you're not walking too far from your car to the elevator. It's a very, very unused parking
and
spot.
when everything else is at least $15 for the minimum, I mean, $9 for 24 hours, unless you're going to valet. So
unless you valet. But like even then, like, okay, because I love Neonopolis, and I know we'll bring it up when we go back, but you know, my favorite places are there with the Nerd Bar, Cat's Meow. There's the go-kart racing that's there now. There's the axe throwing that's there. There's so much to do, and that giant Denny's, which everyone loves to go to for whatever reason. So it's a great spot to park. I love parking there.
People get married at that Denny's.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that what that outside part's for? Mm-hmm. Interesting.
The Denny's on Fremont.
I don't think I'd want to get married at a Denny's.
Oh, no.
Maybe
I don't even want to go to Denny's. So.
Maybe White Castle or Nacho Daddy, but you know, that's a whole other.
Nacho Daddy for sure. I could see you doing
Nacho Daddy for scorpion shots for the win.
Yeah.
But it was a good time. Okay, and so we went through all this. We did the Mod Museum, and we went to go eat at our favorite place. And I wish I took pictures of where we went. It's called Magnolia's, and it's inside the Four Queens, and it's like a diner type spot, but I've gotten almost everything off the menu at one point in time now, and I've yet to have a bad meal, and the prices are incredible. I ended up getting a avocado turkey melt, and it was huge. The turkey melt was huge with a bunch of fries. It's like $13. Like,
that's not a bad deal. Shit.
No, not at all. So
especially considering it's on Fremont. So
yeah, it's on Fremont. If you go and you get your player's card from the Four Queens, you get a discount on some of their food items as well. And for your birthday, they give you a 2-for-1 coupon on your birthday, around your birthday. So that's really, but it has to be the same thing. That's the unfortunate part we learned, that the 2-for-1 is it has to be the same exact meal. So my dad and I, for my birthday back in January, we both got I think we both got the T-bone steak dinners or something like that. So it worked out in the end. But if he didn't want steak, then I'd have to get whatever the hell he wanted because he paid. So I can't bitch too hard about it. I love Fremont. I love Magnolia's. I love that spot.
I don't know if I've been there before.
We'll have to check it out. The other one I really like is the Freedom Beat at the Downtown Grand. It's another good spot for food. I know you're, as being the vegetarian, this won't appeal to you, but the prime rib there, for those of you who do eat meat, is so good. When I first moved here, my grandparents and I, before my grandmother passed, unfortunately, my grandfather and I would take her every weekend there because she loved it, and him and I loved eating prime ribs. So it was like an every Sunday afternoon thing. Yeah, they'd go gamble, and then they'd feed me, and you know, it's a win-win situation.
Happy stomach, happy Ryan.
Yeah, and it's funny. People make fun of me and ask me why we did it all the times because, well, my grandpa was a high roller at some of these places, and so he got comped a lot of shit, and it was a lot of fun. So I got to eat some good food.
Nice.
A lot. So that was that weekend. I mean, just to think about the me going to the Mod Museum was like a last minute thing. They texted me the night before, and we went, and that's what I love about Vegas. We can just go.
Right. That's this weekend unpacked, doing stuff. I mean, every weekend it's always something you can do.
You know, and like
every weekend, any day.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about that because Warren and Leslie is back from my hometown of Selah and in Washington, and everything closes. They were talking about the other night. They went to dinner with a bunch of friends, and they had a packed room, and the restaurant they were at were kicking them out at like 8:30. So, you know, I can't imagine going back to a place that closes that early anymore.
No. It's miserable. Every time I go back east, same thing. Things close at 10 p.m. Everything. Last call, which is like foreign gibberish to us. Turn the lights back off. What do you mean? What are you doing?
So by the time when this episode launches, which will be in a few days, it'll be 2.5 weeks before I fly out to go home for a week. And I'm excited to go see my family. I'm excited to see my friends, from back home, stuff like that. But not being able to go out,
we get so spoiled by it.
We get spoiled, dude. So spoiled being here. Because
it's hard to adjust to a different lifestyle anymore. Even going to LA.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I had to call my dad. I called my dad and I was like, hey, this is what I want to go do while we're there. I want to go to these places you guys talk about all the time. Let's do them. But we have to plan it out because things close. So, we can't just get a hair up our ass and want to go somewhere. We have to plan that shit out, and it's irritating.
Vegas does not do itineraries. We just go.
Yeah, we just go. And I think we've said this on the other shows we've done, and I'm going to say it all the time. Don't always over-plan your trip to Vegas. Make it up as you go when you get here.
Have much more fun.
Plan one big thing because you never know what's going to what could just randomly pop up.
You could spend all day drunk at a bar talking to some random people from a town that you grew up in.
Yep. That's and that's funny is the tasting for the moonshine. We ran into there was a couple there who was from Washington, who was from Richland, which is, an hour and a half away from where I grew up, where I'm actually going to fly into when I go home. And we got to talking. We just got to talking about Washington, and it's crazy the people you can meet if you just have a conversation with someone.
Oh, definitely. And it can change the day. And you guys may do something different together at that point. So
yeah, shit. You might there's been a few times where I've met people and we've changed what pool we were going to go hang out with them, and end up being more fun than what we originally had planned.
Oh, definitely. I mean, during the days when the Raiders were having vaccinations, I had somebody offer to take me to the game with them, and I couldn't go because I wasn't vaccinated. But it's different, right? But things like that. I mean, just randomly at a bar, and someone offered to take me to the game with them. And I was like, unfortunately, I can't, but I appreciate that gesture.
Yeah.
So
you never know. I love
really
it. I love it. I really do love it. And it was funny because when we were at the Mob Museum, I was there before the other couple showed up, and so I got to sit down on the steps, kind of just listen to people, and I met people and just started talking to them. And there was these two ladies who wanted to go to the Neon Museum. And but they were going to walk.
No.
Okay. So, okay. And that's exactly what I said. I ended up talking them out of it because they were standing next to me talking. They were looking at their phone. They were trying to figure out which way to go. And I was like, oh, hey, I live here. What are you guys looking for? And they're like, oh, we're going to the Neon Museum. I was like, okay, well, it's, go this way, take a left, and it's a half mile up. I was like, but I don't recommend walking it. And they're like, why? I was like, because right here might seem fine, and the Fremont experience might seem fine, but as soon as you get
block over,
as soon as you go north under the 95 like that, or I think it's like 95 or the 515 or whatever it is, once you go that direction, it's not the best area, I should say.
No.
Especially at night.
Great.
No,
if it's two females, even worse.
And they were two older ladies. They were new. You could tell they weren't from there because they were lost.
They're about to walk through there.
And so I told them, and the reason I know this is not only from experience, because I've wandered that area before. Do you remember during lockdown when there was a protest on Fremont and they deployed the police and stuff like that? It got rowdy, like right towards Container Park.
I remember that, yeah.
So we were down there for something else, and we got caught in that. So we had to go. They shut down the traffic in certain areas. So me and my buddy had to walk, and we walked north under that bridge to try to find our a spot to grab an Uber, and it was sketchy over there. It really was.
It's not an ideal spot to be in late at night with your car breaking down.
No, and I had some friends who were here too who walked from. They didn't tell me beforehand, but they walked from Fremont Experience to the Neon Museum in the middle of the night, like dark. And I was like, oh.
You got lucky.
Yeah, well, and they told me they're like we were being like watched, and I was like, yeah, that whole area, you never know.
Everyone knew you shouldn't be there.
Yeah. So I recommend, even though it was a half a mile walk, I told the ladies, I was like, look, walk there, cool. It's still early enough in the day. You can walk there fine. But if you're going to be there for a few hours,
drive back.
Yeah, find a way back. Don't, because it's just, you'd rather not take the risk.
Not at all. It's worth it. $15. Just drive. Get a ride.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be.
Whatever it may be. But yeah, man, that was the week. That was what we did this week, and that was, I feel like, a lot of fun.
Definitely.
It was a blast, and I know we talked about the Mob Museum quite a bit this last few episodes, and we, and I finally got to go do it, even though you had. I highly recommend it. It's a little spendy per person to go, but it's 100% worth it to go check it out.
$40.
I think it was like the mid range was like 45. I think it was like 35 for bottom range.
Yeah.
So
locals are what, 35 or 30?
Locals were like, no, it's like $5 off for locals. So I think it was like the mid range was like $40. So you're not saving a whole lot of money, but you're still saving some money.
We hard our locals.
Yeah, right. Even now, even at parking garages for some of the places on the strip, if you're a local and you're a Nevada resident and you scan your ID, you get a discount. But depending on where it's at, it's not much of a discount. It's like an hour off.
I mean, the way I've gotten around that many a time before I valeted was I would just mash that call button over and over again, and they would let me through usually.
Seriously? Game the system. I love it.
So it's like, because they don't want to answer their phone call. So it's like, oftentimes you just bash it or say, hey, I have my rewards card, let me through or something like that. It's worked many a times. Sometimes they don't even answer the phone, they'll just lift it up. So
they'll just lift it for you because they don't want to talk to you. They're busy.
Exactly.
Which
sometimes it's worth trying if you want to save the money.
It all depends on where you park. Everywhere on the strip now you have to pay to park, really. Fremont's getting to that point, which is unfortunate. But
because when was it Venetian or TI announced they're paying for parking now?
TI, yeah, because TI had free parking and now they're talking about putting parking up. They're paying to park. And I used to park there all the time. So
it's now it's just Venetian, Wynn, and Encore, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, and the mall. I mean, the mall's right there, and they don't make you pay to park there. So Miracle Mile, it's Miracle Mile, not Miracle Mile.
Fashion show.
Because because you can park underneath, but they close the gates at a certain time. It's not 24 hours.
No,
so,
that'd be the downfall.
Yeah, but I mean, it's during the day and it's not packed. It's a good spot. It's center. It's Central Strip more than anything. So, good spot to park.
True, very true.
But yeah, man, that was the week, and I wanted to get on real quick, talk about it because I got some cool pictures of it. I know you had cool stuff you wanted to share. And we want to get it out there, the things that we do, because that is what we're trying to do beyond the neon veil. Get a peek of what we do in Vegas, what we can do on a weekly basis.
What people dream of doing, we do regularly.
Yeah, I love it.
That's why I don't live anywhere else.
I plan on staying here for as long as I can. That's for damn sure. Exactly. So just give me a baseball team, and then I'll never leave.
They're working on it. They are working on it.
I can't wait for that to be announced, and then we can tell everybody where the stadium's going to be built, because I think I know where it's being built. So we've heard rumors, but let's wait until that's for sure before we say anything. So
100%.
Dwayne, do you have anything you want to share before we call, dude?
Not this time, but I'm sure we'll be talking about something else soon.
We will. Everyone, I really appreciate you guys coming out and watching tonight, this episode of Beyond the Neon Veil. I'm Cousin Ryan. I hope you like, click, and subscribe to our channel, and go over and check out Benny and Moose Save America. This past Thursday, when this episode comes out, we had my group, the Twitch, the COD Squad, versus What the Show. Great friends of mine. We went on a trivia battle head-to-head. Dwayne watched it and was texting me during it. We had some good jokes in there, and I choked fairly hard.
Yeah, but you were so confident in that answer. I was
so confident in my answer.
Confident to be wrong so fast.
If I would have thought about 2001, I'm like, oh, it can't be that movie. Rounders was in the 90s, man. But what do you do? But thanks again, Dwayne, for coming. I love having you on the show. I love bullshitting with you. It's always a good time.
Definitely appreciate you having me.
Always, dude. I will catch you later, everyone. We'll have a great night. Again, this is Ryan, Cousin Ryan from Beyond the Neon Veil. We'll check you guys later.